What's up, guys? Russell back with that kid too. I don't know if you can tell by the way I'm dressed, but I just got home from work, and the reason I'm doing this right now as opposed to a little bit later in the night, having time to sort of plan this out a little bit, is because I want to give you my honest and I guess unabridged reaction to Microsoft's new reveal of their Surface laptop. I did this a little while ago when they revealed their Surface Book idea, and I loved it at the time. You're going to sleep on me? And I love the idea at the time. The idea that they had a laptop that also turned into it was their own version, their own take on the two-in-one, but it was still different enough that it brought something new to the table. It gave them a little bit more of an edge over the other two-in-one competitors because of that Surface functionality. As you all know, I have my own Surface, which is around here somewhere, I hope. This is a Surface Pro 2, and I've actually been thinking of upgrading. And the reason I'm doing that is because the battery life is so. I use it a lot to take notes, all that kind of stuff, but it's starting to really show its age. Processing power isn't quite what it needs to be, even though it's still got that dual-core i5 and that 8 gigs of RAM. It's not exactly what I need to get the job done right the first time. I was hoping that Microsoft would give me something to look forward to, something that would really, I guess, shatter the mold again, to upgrade to potentially, I guess, a lower cost two-in-one, or a good enough touchscreen laptop, maybe designed similarly to the HP X360 with the foldable hinge and all that kind of stuff, so you can still use it as a two-in-one, but it would still come with an integratable keyboard. Because the keyboard solution on the Surfaces, while executed very, very well on the Surface Pro 4, still isn't quite perfect. It's still not quite stiff enough. It's not quite firm enough. The typing experience isn't quite what it should be, although the trackpad is very commendable. I have to give them points there. When I saw the first leaked images of this Surface laptop, I was very disappointed. They are doing what Apple is doing with the MacBook Air series, but worse. Granted, their hardware spec is much beefier than that of the Air, and even though the laptop is, if they're boasting thinner, lighter, whatever it is, it's smaller in some sort of form factor in terms of the MacBook Air, that's fine. They still have the hardware that beats the MacBook Air out 100% of the time, which I kind of already knew. That's nothing that's earth-shattering. Everyone knew that they were probably going to beat the Mac Air in whatever test we threw at it. What's disappointing to me is they took a step backwards on the whole functionality of the device. If you look at this promo video there, they don't have a Type-C port. They don't have a Thunderbolt port. They have a card reader, a USB 3 or 3.1, I'm not sure if that's yet to be confirmed, and a mini display port. What is a mini display port doing on a Surface device? I have one on my Surface device, and I actually had to go out and buy 2 different dongles to get it to work properly. I don't have a DisplayPort device that I use regularly for this. It's all HDMI. So with mini HDMI all but dead, why are we putting DisplayPorts on devices when we have the option of putting a Thunderbolt port? That Thunderbolt port is so much more functionality-wise than just a display port, just an HDMI, just an audio solution, just a storage solution. Oh wait, it is all of that. It's all in one friggin' port. I don't see, there was no reason to not put a Thunderbolt port on this next-gen device. They should have replaced that display port with a Thunderbolt port and then included a DisplayPort to Thunderbolt or USB Type-C connector or dongle in the box. They're going backwards with this I/O configuration. Everything else looks gorgeous. They have a phenomenal screen, which the Surface is, I've always been impressed at. I really like that. And the whole aesthetic is very, very nice. Although I do believe you can only get the colors in the i5 256 gig model. And nothing else, if I remember correctly. That may change, but as it stands, that's where that sits. The other thing, it starts at $1,000 US. That's about 1,400 Canadian, if I'm doing the conversion loosely correctly in my mind. And that's ridiculous. I can name you 10 devices, and they're probably going to be scrolling on the screen right now, that have the same hardware configuration for less money. Granted, it is extremely thin and very light. I get that. It will be next gen hardware. I get that. But for a dual core i5 and 4 gigs of RAM with 128 or 250 gigs of storage, you shouldn't be charging $1,000. They're trying to target this at the education sector. Students, maybe faculty and teachers or something like that. Teaching students, or teaching assistants rather. We students, I don't know what students you're looking at, don't have that kind of money to blow. I know that because I've been trying for, 2 years to try and figure out how to pay for a new Surface. I bought this used. It was like $500 or something, and I had to sell my laptop to do it. And I've been trying to figure out how to pay for one of the $1,500 Surface Pro 4s for the past 6 months because this one's aging, and I really, really love the product, but the price tag is just too much to stomach. So to see this new Surface Pro, or this new Surface laptop, to come in, not running a full Windows 10 license, running a shitty hardware configuration for the price, and it's still thin and light, I get that, but it's got so many other downfalls for the $1,000. It's not worth the money. It doesn't make any sense. Why would a student go out and spend $1,000 on this Microsoft Surface with a dual core, 4 gigs of RAM, and 128 gig storage when you can take that $1,000 and build a computer that's 4 times the power? Right, portability. I totally forgot. But if it's not functional enough to take everywhere and do everything you need it to, for example, me, I need it. I would use it to take notes. I would use it for word processing, collaborating, meetings, presentations, which you would need to link into a projector that's most likely HDMI or DVI, actually, are the ones that I've encountered. You would need them to take along textbooks and notes and all that kind of stuff. And that's where the Surface tablet comes in, which is why that's sort of the product that I'm looking at personally. But objectively speaking, why would anyone pay $1,000 for a base model? That is ridiculous. You're turning into Apple Microsoft, and I, as a student and as a Microsoft fan, don't like it. You're restricting our I/O configuration, you're restricting the functionality, and you're just adding barriers. Okay, yes, we can upgrade to a full Windows 10 license for free if you were a student. That still doesn't make up that $1,000 price mark. Oh, well, you could totally get, like a USB hub extender. Actually, lots of them require too much power to work off of one USB port. That's a problem I've been having with this guy. I can't get a USB dongle. I've tried 3 different ones, and none of them have worked on this. And what's the difference between this one and the next one? This is a USB 3 port, as far as I'm concerned. And if the voltages don't change, they won't be able to be powered either. So it doesn't make any sense. No sense. Doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. I don't understand what they're doing with this product. They're marketing it at the education sector, and they're kneecapping us because we won't be able to buy it. And Microsoft, if you think that students are going to go out of their way to pay $1,000 for something that they could probably, pay the $800 for, then you are turning into Apple. Because Apple does the same thing. They undercut their power and they overprice their hardware. I don't see a difference here. I'm very disappointed with this product reveal. And if anybody has any arguments, I'd love to hash it out in the description below. Because yes, it has 14 and a half hours of battery life. I get that. But how do you get to that 14 and a half hours of battery life? I would rather have it have full 8-hour battery life, cutting that number almost in half and doubling the power. Or, better yet, having the price. I don't get it. There's too many dots that I'm missing. I don't understand what Microsoft is going for this. As an education product, 2 out of 10. Would not recommend.